Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shop Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Tuesday, November 26, 2024. Now, if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, the games I love the most, including my daily Bank Shop best bet in college hoops, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Tuesday in college basketball. First up, we see Oregon and Texas A&M. This one 4:30 Eastern on TNT. This is a neutral site game in Las Vegas. Oregon and Texas A&M both have played weak strength of schedules when you look at the KenPom rankings, but Texas A&M has 2 tough games under its belt against UCF on the road and Ohio State, while Oregon, they played 4 games at home against some decent mid-major schools, and then that 1 game against Oregon State, but I'm not really big on Oregon State this year, so I don't really consider that a big step-up game. I don't think the Ducks have really been tested yet this season, and I worry about that last performance against Oregon State because in that game, the Ducks gave up 17 offensive rebounds, and that's a big worry against a Texas A&M team. It's one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. They were number 1 last year in offensive rebounding. Right now, they're number 2 at getting a rebound on 46.3% of their missed shots. They're not a great shooting team. They've improved those numbers a little bit so far this year, but if you're giving them second chance opportunities, they're going to make you pay offensively. They're still a very efficient offense to start this season with an excellent defense to go with it. Now, Oregon scores a majority of its points, a large majority of its points, from 2-point field goals. So not a great 3-point shooting team. They don't do a great job of getting to the free throw line. But Texas A&M has a great 2-point defense. It's top 40 right now in the country. They're forcing tough shots, and they're only giving up 43.5% of their points via 2-point field goals. So for me, this matchup benefits the Yankees all the way. I think they're more battle-tested. I'm going to go with Texas A&M in this one and lay the points. Next up, we see Western Carolina and Florida State. This one's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern start time. It's going to be on ESPN+. We've mentioned that Leonard Hamilton defenses are looking to get those 35 deflections per game, forcing those turnovers, and Florida State's done a great job of that so far this season. 5th best in the country in forcing turnovers. 25% of their opponents' possessions have ended in a turnover. Now, they're 12th in the country in steals, but they're also 42nd in the country in non-steal turnover percentage. So they're able to force those shot clock violations, force those travels. And Western Carolina, that's been the big issue for this team offensively. They're taking bad shots. They're turning the ball over left and right. And they're ranked right now 299th in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency. Now, Western Carolina's played only 4 games this season, and only 2 of those games were against Division I teams. In those 2 D1 games, they lost by 13 to Queens, which is not a great loss, and 13 to Wake Forest. So that they were a little bit competitive in that Wake Forest game, but I don't think their offense is good enough in this one, and I don't think it matches up well enough against that aggressive Florida State defense for the Catamounts to stand a chance in this game for 40 minutes. So I'm going to lay the points here with Florida State at home. In our next game, we have Manhattan and Virginia. This one's 7 p.m. Eastern on the ACC network. Virginia returns from the Bahamas games where they got crushed in both of those games against Tennessee and St. John's. A 22-point loss against Tennessee where they gave up 42 points in the second half of that game. It was actually a pretty close one at halftime. And then the second game against St. John's, even worse, giving up 80 points. I mean, when was the last time Virginia gave up 80 points in a game? This is a team that looks to slow the game down, limit the amount of possessions, but St. John's had its way offensively the entire game. So for me, I'm a little bit concerned with Virginia's performances recently, and I don't really want to lay this many points with them. I know Manhattan's definitely an inferior opponent, but this is a Manhattan team. It's been playing some tough matchups. They played at Maryland. They played a game against Fordham. They actually won that game against the Rams, an A-10 opponent. They take care of the basketball. They're pretty disciplined defensively. Don't take too many fouls. And I think they'll be good enough in this game, score enough points against a weak Virginia offense and a struggling Virginia defense to be able to cover the numbers. So we're getting a ton of points here with Manhattan. I'm going to take them with the Jaspers. Next up, a great game between Houston and Alabama, a pair of top 10 teams going at it. And this one is going to be on 8 p.m. Eastern. It's a neutral site game in Las Vegas. And this is kind of a clash of styles. You got Alabama, potent offense. Houston, one of the best defensive programs in the last decade plus in college basketball. For me, I think Houston's just a little bit more balanced because while they are a top 5 defense right now in terms of adjusted efficiency, they're also top 5 in the offensive side of things. Take care of the basketball, only turning the ball over about 13% of their possessions. an excellent offensive rebounding team. We're used to seeing that from Houston, usually right around top 10, top 20 in offensive rebounding. And right now, they're actually number one in the country in three-point shooting. They're not going to be able to hold on to a 49% three-point shooting statistic for the rest of the season, but definitely a good start to the year. They lost that game against Auburn and a 5-point loss. It was a close one. Auburn just outplayed them in the end, but I think that this matchup benefits the Cougars a little bit more. Now, Alabama beat Houston a couple of seasons ago, so it's not like they're not capable of winning a type of game like this. But we've seen Alabama, like I said, I think Houston's a little bit more balanced because while that Alabama offense is potent and fast-paced and tough to prepare against, the defense, shot quality-wise and in terms of adjusted efficiency, not off to the best start. They don't really force a lot of turnovers. I do think Houston gets those second chance looks and gets to the free throw line as well. We've seen Alabama playing a couple of step-up games recently against Purdue and Illinois, giving up 87 points in each of those games. I think if you give up 87 to Houston, you're in real trouble. So I'm going to go with the Houston Cougars in this one and lay the points. And the final game we're to talk about for the Tuesday card in college basketball, it is Kansas and Duke. This one's 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, another neutral site game in Las Vegas. Another great game on the board for Tuesday night. Now, we mentioned the Duke and Kentucky game. We talked about that game in the breakdown. We took Kentucky in the points in that one. They won that game outright 77-72. That was an excellent game, one of the best games in non-conference play so far. But Duke bounced back. I mean, they had a nice road win in their last game against Arizona, 69-55. It is not easy holding Arizona to 55 points, especially when they're playing at home. And I think that Duke right now has one of the best defenses, if not the best defenses in the country. They really improved after that game against Kentucky. They only gave up 35 points to Wofford in the following game. And right now they are number one in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency. Excellent rebounding team. We know they have a ton of young talent, including one of the best players in college basketball, Cooper Flagg. He's off to an amazing start to the year. You look on the other side, Kansas, for me, this defense is not as stout as we're used to seeing. So far, in terms of the adjusted efficiency numbers, they're there. They're a good rebounding team, but in terms of shot quality and forcing turnovers, taking fouls, Kansas is a little bit subpar in those categories to start the season. And then you look at the strength of schedule. They had that game against North Carolina, the neutral site game against Michigan State, but I do think Duke is taking on the tougher schedule with that true road game at Arizona. This is, Kansas has not played a true road game yet this year. I'm going to roll with Duke in this game. I think they're favored. I think the right team is favored. I like Duke in this one. And that's it. Those are the games for Tuesday in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Put those college basketball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.